Hi everyone, I'm Liz and welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. Hi everyone, welcome back to another weekly crafty report. I am Liz and I'm here to talk to you about all of the things that I have been making in the last week. It was another fun summer family-filled week for me. My sister and her kids are still in town, so I've been spending a lot of time with family this past week, including a couple of fun things that I was able to film for this video today. One of them was a trip to a local furniture classroom. What is it? What do they call it? The Austin Furniture School, I think it's what it's called. And they do furniture making classes. And so earlier this week, my dad and I took a picture frame building class, which was a lot of fun. And I filmed a little bit of it for you guys. It was also my parents' 45th wedding anniversary this week. So really had a fun family dinner at a really nice restaurant. It was so wonderful. Big congratulations to my parents. They were making all kinds of jokes about who, thought they would make it this far, but yeah, it's amazing. 45, can't wait to celebrate 50 with them. And then yesterday on Saturday, my mom and sisters and I, and Andy, my nephew, the six of us competed in a puzzle competition, which was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again. They said they're going to host another one around Christmas, so yeah, I think we're going to become competitive puzzlers as another side hobby. It was a really great time, so I was able to film some of that, and my sister Lynn came over to chat about knitting and crochet with me. This is the sister who lives in Dubai and only visits once or twice a year, so yeah, I convinced her to come over yesterday afternoon after our puzzle competition and film with me. So yeah, I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit of a long one. So let's jump right into my crafty updates for the week. I'm going to start us off this week with a new segment that I think I'm going to call the hot new thing. And really, this is just going to be the segment where I talk about any new starts, because I had a new start this week. I started a project out of Cross Stitch the Forest by Max Pigeon. This is a lovely brand new cross stitch book that was released last week, and I was kindly gifted a copy of this to review, and I found a couple of projects that I really wanted to stitch out of it, so I started one this week and I'm really excited about it. I'll put a picture on the screen. I'm starting the moths. I think it's called like Mothly Crew. I showed it to you guys when I was reviewing the book. I'm obsessed with it. So because I love how it looks on black, I'm stitching it on black, and oh my gosh, I forgot how hard it is to stitch on black. So here is my progress. I am using all the called for DMC colors. I think I have 15% done. And yes, that does mean that I'm stitching it out of Markup RXP. I have the physical book. And I honestly thought about ripping the pages out to scan them so I could put them into markup, because I tried taking photos and they weren't flat enough. Like the pages really need to be flat to take like a scanned photo. And I didn't want to rip pages out of the book, so I ended up buying the digital copy. Even though I already had the physical book right here in my hand, I decided to leave this copy nice and pretty, and I bought the digital download off of Barnes & Noble's because I have like a Nook e-reader, and I was able to like screenshot and import into markup. Anyways, yes, I could have stitched from the book, but I like to stitch from my iPad now, so that's what I did. But so I know I'm 15% of the way done with this. I think that was like 400 stitches, something like that. And I absolutely love it. This is 32 count fabrics by Stephanie Slate, and I'm stitching 2 over 2. And I am having to use magnification on this 32 count black fabric. I really used to never need any magnification, but especially with this black, I really find it necessary so that I don't accidentally cover 3 holes instead of 2 or whatever. So yeah, What else to say about this one? It's only like around 2,000 or 2,500 stitches, so it really shouldn't be a long one to get stitched up. And I'm really excited about the round frame I want to use to finish this, so I'm thinking I'll keep this one out. The only problem is that it is more difficult to stitch on. Like I need the magnifiers that, I don't know, I might have to kind of like force myself to push through because I want the finished product so bad, but I really don't enjoy stitching on black linen. But I do think it's gorgeous. So that is my new start, and that is my hot new thing. Okay, the only other cross stitch project I had this week was my garden sampler by Carriage House Samplings. I've been very monogamously stitching on this until this week when I distracted myself with a new start. But I did make a lot of progress this week. I'd have to fully open this to show you everything now. Let's see. Here, ugh. I never thought I would need one of those like design board things, but now that I'm trying to hold this up and it's so long, I kind of see, you know, it could be useful. Let's see, I think you can see it there. So here is my garden sampler. I added, I think, almost 1,000 stitches this week. So I got a lot done. That whole hat, the pea pod, I don't know, just basically the queue, like out of everything in that area, the little queen bee. And I think it's just continues to be super fun to stitch on, and I just think it looks really cool. So yeah, I mostly focused on this little lower section here. And I think I am now at 70% complete. 68% or 70. It's, yeah, less than a third of the way there. So I'm so excited about this. I am stitching this on 36 count Picture This Plus doubloon, and I'm using a Roxy floss conversion that I bought at Stitch North. Okay, so the next craft I'm going to share with you guys is the picture frames that my dad and I made this week at a local furniture school. This was what they call one of their community classes, which are offered on a donation basis, so a little bit more of an affordable way to get the local community involved in the school and trying out some of the classes. I will link the school down in the description box if you're local to the Austin area. It was really great. They have a really great classroom set up, and they're really set up to teach you how to build furniture and do woodworking, which is really, really cool. And honestly, if it was closer to me, I would definitely take more classes. It is in way South Austin, and I am way north of Austin. So it was about a 40-minute drive for my dad and I to get down there, but we had a great time and I was able to film some of the class. So I'll let that play for you now, and then I'll show you my finished project. Hello, happy Monday. I just got to my parents' house. I am picking up my dad for a little father-daughter date. We are going to a furniture store to learn how to make picture frames, and I'm very excited. So yeah, let's go.
She was opening a drawer and all these fell out, and she took a picture, and then so she made me that for my birthday.
Wait. came home with. This is called a floating frame, and it's used to mount canvases in. So you can get like a photo printed on a canvas, you could paint something on a canvas, or in this case, I'm gonna mount a piece of cross stitch for my mom on a canvas and frame it in here. So I didn't really have anything in mind to want to frame going into the class, and so I measured a finished piece of cross stitch that my mom had done. I think I have a photo of it. I'll put it in here. And it's a Christmassy one. And so I made this frame specifically sized to fit her cross stitch. So I'm gonna have to mount that for her. So it's just this really pretty thin walnut wood. And then this black frame is what the canvas rests on. So you won't ever see this black part. All you'll see is the pretty wood edges around your artwork. And I'll show you, I did go to Michael's and get a thick canvas to mount my mom's cross stitch on. And so then it would just get centered inside the frame, and you would screw in from the back into the, like basically into the wood of the canvas to attach it. And then the cross stitch, it will go like this. It will just kind of float in the center of that frame. So, I honestly, it was such a good time. I've used power tools before. When I bought my first house, I did like pretty much a complete cosmetic overhaul. Every single baseboard, every wall, added crown molding, added trim, added wood floors, like just, you know, anything cosmetic that you can do to a house that's not removing walls. My dad and I were doing that. And so I'm pretty comfortable using tools. I just don't have like craftsmanship for like woodwork. So it was really cool to see, like, to learn some like tips and techniques for getting everything really nice and square, and how to use like clamps and wood glue and brad nailers and like just different little tools and things that I've never used before. And also it was a really great time to like take a 3-hour class with my dad. We've done, I think, like a cookie decorating or cake baking class like with my mom and sisters before. I think that was a couple of years ago. I'm trying to remember what we made. Maybe like little turnovers? I can't remember. We did some kind of baking class. But, you know, my dad and I don't spend a ton of time one-on-one together. He's got a lot of kids, a lot of grandkids. And it was really fun to just spend the night, you know, or spend the evening with my dad making things. Yeah, it was really fun. And now I have a super useful frame that I can use to frame some cross stitch. So that's awesome. I will definitely film myself whenever I get around to like mounting my mom's cross stitch on this, because it's not something I've ever done before, and I think it could be kind of a cool way, like a new way to mount cross stitch. You do kind of have, you need to have like kind of a big margin to go all the way around the canvas and to be able to staple into the back of the canvas, but I think it'd look really cool. So I will definitely film that whenever I get around to mounting that for her. Okay, now we're gonna get into the knitting projects and crochet projects that I've worked on this week. I have 3 things that I've been working on this week. 2 you saw last week and 1 that is new. It's not a new start, it's just an old whip that I picked up, and I'll just start with that since it's, you know, the new thing for this segment. I pulled out my April cardigan whip by Petite Knit, and here is what it looks like so far. This is maybe one of the first cardigans I've ever made. I think I've made one a long time ago. I don't still have it. And in kind of my new knitting era, I haven't made any cardigans. So yeah, I really wanted to make one. I lost steam because of the whole knitting flat. You know, I don't love purling. Big, long, you know, 300 stitch rounds of purling. And that kind of made me lose steam. And then it started getting to be springtime weather. And I just knew I wasn't going to be wearing this soon. So I set it aside. But this week I had a really hard time settling and picking a project that I wanted to work on. I had that big finish last week with my pink Cumulus tee, and then I just didn't really know what I wanted to focus on. I thought it was going to be my Peekaboo crop cardie, which I did work on, but I couldn't settle with that. I picked this up for a night, couldn't settle with this. Yeah, I just jumped around a lot. So anyways, all that to say, this doesn't look that much different from the last time I would have shown it. And, but I did put a few rows in. It's just plain old stockinette flat, no shaping right now. I'm about 6 or 7 inches under the arms, so I have about 6 or 7 more inches to go till I finish the body. And then I would have to pick up and add the button band and the long sleeves. So this is still, you know, maybe this is about halfway-ish. Probably not. I have no idea how long the button band's gonna take, to be honest, because I've never knit a button band, like picked up and knit a button band before. So that'll be a new skill. The yarn, let's see. I am using Haiku Sueño Tweed, and this is in the color Comforting Cream. This is a superwash merino wool, viscose from bamboo, and viscose flex blend. And so it's just a really pretty creamy color with a bunch of purple, yellow, pink speckles. And I think it's like a really fun kind of grandpa cardigan style with the little flecks and stuff. It's gonna be super warm. Just holding it up, it feels really nice and thick. I think it'll be perfect to wear to work in the like fall through spring because they keep the buildings so cold, and it's always nice just to have something cozy to put on at my desk. So yeah. Not sure if this will get worked on, to be honest, in the next coming week. It might get picked up again in the fall, but I don't know. I kind of keep this right by my couch and I can just pull it out whenever I feel like it. Of course I can. What a silly thing to say. I'm knitting this on size 5 needles. I think it did call for DK weight in size 6 needles, but I was able to hit gauge with this yarn in size 5 needles. And I don't feel like the fabric is too loose or anything by doing that. Give you a close-up look. And yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting to say something about this project, but I will of course have the Ravelry project page linked in the description box below. Okay, I just mentioned it, my peekaboo crop cardigan, and I did work on that a pretty good amount this week, but I did not stick with it, and this is not going to be done before I go to Flock next weekend. Gosh, it's less than a week away. I leave on Friday to go to Flock. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Okay, sorry, I'm distracting myself because now I'm thinking about yarn shopping. Okay, so this is going to be awkward to hold up because this is crocheted in such an interesting way. I have the whole back panel. Oop, gonna pull my stitches out if I'm not careful. Okay. Let's try this again. I have the whole back panel and the back side of the sleeves completed, and now I have split up around the neck and started crocheting one side of the front. So I think I have about 4 repeats done into one of the fronts. So yeah, I'm a little bit over halfway, I guess. I don't know why. I just haven't really felt like crocheting that much. I've been picking this up and doing a few rows, but I wasn't really able to stick with it this week. So I've decided I'm not going to try and push myself to finish it before I go on my trip. It's going to be a busy work week. I'm going to be prepping for being gone from home for a whole week because I'm going to be going to Flock, and then I have to go to California for work. So I have a lot to do this week, so I'm trying to just be excited that I finished my Cumulus tee and will have one knitted garment that I can wear at Flock, and not pressure myself to get anything else done because I don't need that kind of stress. But I do want to see this completed. I have never crocheted myself a garment before, other than like a hat, scarf, shawl, but never like a sweater. I have one in progress from maybe 6 months ago that's also a cardigan that's not complete that I need to revisit again in the fall. But yes, I do want this completed. I'm just not going to push myself to get it done this week. So anyways, that is where my crochet crop cardigan is. Oh, and the yarn I am using is Barocco Modern Cotton, which I highly recommend if you need a heavier, like worsted weight, like heavy DK / worsted weight summer yarn. It's really nice to work with. And I am using a 4.5mm crochet hook as per what the pattern calls for. Okay, the last thing that I worked on knitting and crochet wise this week is my mom's socks. And they're almost done. And I totally could have had them done this week if I would have spent like one more evening on them, but that's okay. Let's see. These are the Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop pattern by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady. And I have one whole sock done, and I am almost done with the second sock. You can see last week I was here on the heel when I showed them to you, and I have almost completed the foot. I think I have about 10 more rows to knit before I can start the toe. And I think I just did a 20 row cuff of 2x1 ribbing, and then just a basic stockinette and then heel flap and gusset for the heel. Here is what the completed sock looks like. And hopefully just a couple of days, my mom will have her completed Mother's Day socks. Yeah, I think that's all there is to say about those socks. Next up, I want to share with you a little segment I filmed with my sister Lynn, where we just talked about our love of knitting and crochet, and Lynn shares with us some of her favorite projects she's ever completed. And yeah, we just like got home from the puzzle competition, kicked back on my couch, started knitting, and yeah, it was a really great time. Oh, but before I show you that, I should probably say you're going to see some puzzling first. So my mom found out about a puzzle competition hosted by our local Parks and Rec department and asked us if we wanted to sign up. And we have always been puzzle lovers, so we were like, yeah, let's do a puzzle competition. Let's crush some people. And yeah, I wanted to share a little bit of that with you, and then we'll kick it to some more knitting and crochet. Hello, happy Saturday. I'm at a puzzle competition. I just got here apart and I'm waiting for my mom and my sisters, and we decided on an all black uniform. I wore a Star Wars t-shirt that I got to wear to Disney, and yeah, I'm ready to puzzle. So hopefully I can film some of it. We'll see. I'll tell you all about it afterwards though. Ready? Checking in. Are you excited, Andy?
Yes.
Are you ready to be our team captain? Yeah, I'm taking a video.
I'm ready to win.
Our real team captain. No, just kidding. And then Sarah, who's going to be late. I just forgot my selfie stick, guys. How am I going to record this?
Ready? When you say go, grab the box and unwrap it, okay? Move this cup. Unwrap it, hurry, hurry, hurry.
Third. All right.
All right. Team Captain Andy.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Andy.
All right, y'all gather over there so I can get a team picture.
Okay.
Team picture.
Way to go, baby.
All right, and y'all's time was 1946.
Oh, we smoked it. I just got a wee bit sweaty, but we did it. We got second place, guys. All right, guys. How are we feeling about second place? I mean, you know, we wanted first, but we'll take it.
We're really bad for our first
Sometimes
outing.
you just come up short.
Yeah.
Are we missing a piece? He's got it.
No, we got.
We're missing a piece.
Oh no, where's the missing piece?
You know, that happens once in a while. Drives me crazy.
We'll find it.
Woohoo! Puzzle champs! Oh God, it's bright out here. Yeah! Good job, team captain! Well, welcome to my channel, guys. Oh, you've been here before, but this is Lynn. Say hello, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Lynn. I'm the invisible sister.
She's the one who lives overseas in Dubai. And we just got done with something very fun, which we'll give you a little recap of because I did film some of it. We did a puzzle competition. Thoughts, feelings?
So much adrenaline, so much sweat.
Yeah.
My heart was racing.
We did a team puzzle competition, and it was teams of 6 or up to 6, and it was a 300-piece puzzle, and we had 2 hours to complete it. And we completed our puzzle in, I think, 19 minutes and
19 minutes.
Maybe a few seconds or something. So we did not get first, though. We did get second. It's fine. There was somebody, like a competitor there who had done state puzzle competitions. So we were bested.
So, this time.
This time. Yeah.
Not next time.
But we only
Never.
finished a minute behind her, so I feel good about our performance. Yeah.
I do too.
And Andy was our team captain, our adorable mop-headed team captain.
You did great.
He did. He put a lot of the pieces in, honestly. He and his mom,
Yeah.
Allison, did most of the edge for us.
Shockingly, he was not as fast at ripping the wrapping paper off the puzzle as I expected.
Oh, he was too
I
delicate.
like,
Yeah.
What do you do on Christmas morning, Andy?
So to start the competition, they had wrapped all of the puzzle boxes like presents and put them on the center of our table. And so when they had said go, we had to rip the puzzle open and get it started. And we gave that job to Andy, and he was so delicate. And we were like, rip! Tear it! So maybe that's what slowed us down, right?
That's got to be the reason. They had that little head start.
Okay, so before I start asking you all my questions, let's actually show the people what we're knitting on. Do you want to go first? You're in a good place?
Yes. So unfortunately, what I am doing now is putting my needle back through an earlier row so I can rip out 10 rows of stitching.
Oh, really? Why?
So I'm working on a sweater, by the way.
I can't remember the name of the pattern, but I'll put the picture and the name on the screen.
Nancy Drews.
Yeah, it's like a find the missing clue or...
The case of the Nancy Drew sweater or something like that.
I'll put it on the screen for them.
I don't know, but it's adorable. So I started the sleeve. I'm jumping around in the pattern a little bit because I won't be able to finish it before I go home to Dubai, and I want to do several, fit checks on Sarah before I go, so I make sure that it fits her when I'm finished.
This is the sweater she's knitting for our sister Sarah. I think we did a little yarn shopping in a previous video.
So now you can see it partially knit up. So I started doing the decreases for the sleeves, and it said to decrease every 2 centimeters. And when I started knitting the sleeve, I didn't have a measuring tape on me. So I just went based on the gauge because I did knit, wash, and block a full gauge swatch.
A true grown-up. True grown-up.
I have never felt more like a professional knitter in my life. I never do a gauge swatch because if it's for me, I'll just try it on and then I'll rip it out and be angry. But this is for Sarah. It's, it's special. She bought all the yarn, so I feel like I owed a gauge swatch. The gauge swatch was great, and now I'm knitting, and apparently it was just slightly not great because the pattern gauge said that 2 centimeters should have been 8 rows, but I'm getting 7 rows for 2 centimeters.
Oh, so
and
if you have to adjust your decreases?
Yeah, so if I keep decreasing at that rate, the sleeves are going to be too long for her.
Okay.
Which if I were knitting it for myself, I have 8-mile long arms, I would do that anyway. Be like, great, extension. But Sarah has normal person-sized arms, so...
I'm just going to take a behind-the-scenes video of Jonesy trying to ruin my shoes. Jonesy, we're trying to be professionals and film a video over here. We're in my living room right now filming
like
this.
such a goblin.
And hopefully it's not like, I don't know. I think you'll be able to see us, but we're kind of in front of the windows and it's very bright outside. Jonesy. What yarn are you using? Do you remember?
I don't, but I have the ball bands over there in my bag.
That's okay. Well, I'll put it on the screen later, but it's this really pretty green color, and then a cream will be for the color work portion.
Yes, and it's all 100% baby merino, and
Is it lovely to work with?
It is so soft and cushy, and I love it. I love the way it feels. I do have some minor concerns when I get to the color work section because I don't do a ton of like stranded color work most of the time, and what I have done most recently has been with yarn that has like a much like firmer twist to it. Like this I feel like it's a little bit easier to accidentally stick the needle through the yarn, and so I am a little concerned because I pick the yarn when I'm doing color work more than I do when I'm knitting straight. I throw more when I'm knitting straight, but for the color work I tend to pick more because I hold both of the working yarns in my left hand. So I'm a little concerned that it might take me a couple rounds to adjust to that and like really get it right. I might have to frog a bit and redo, but
I'm excited to see the color work. Okay, so I am knitting on my mom's socks. Oh, let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, so it's the kind of like self-striping gingerbread yarn, and I was on the heel last time I showed him to you. Oh my gosh, this light. It's like so bright. And I'm just working my way down the foot now. So hopefully Mom will have her Mother's Day socks before next Mother's Day. No, she will. This should only take me, a few more hours to knit the rest of this foot. Okay, so how long have you been knitting? When did you start learning how to knit? Was it in college?
No. So I first started learning how to knit in high school, I feel like, and I think it was Norma who first taught me.
Okay. Because I started teaching myself, I think, freshman or sophomore year of college. Like I started watching, like it wasn't even YouTube because it was before YouTube, but it was like some websites had little like learn to knit videos that were like the grainiest quality, took forever to load, and that's how I taught myself.
So I'm pretty sure, because I know Mom taught us all how to crochet when we were real little.
Yes.
And I remember, I'm 90% sure it was Aunt Norma, our mom's sister, who initially taught me how to knit a little bit, but I didn't do it a lot in high school. I still did mostly crochet at that point.
Yeah.
But then I got way more into knitting in college when I started watching videos as well, and like I would buy more patterns, and and when I discovered Ravelry, that was like a game changer.
Well, because that opened I think in 2008 or 2007, and that was a real game changer to be able to see like all the patterns that were available. Because before Ravelry, it was just like knitting blogs.
Well, before Ravelry, I would literally be like walking down the aisles at Michael's or Hobby Lobby and grabbing those free pattern leaflets that used to be hanging next to the yarn. And like that's where most of my patterns came from. Although Aunt Norma gave me her like massive stash of like old knitting and crochet magazines and books.
Yeah.
All these patterns. And of course they're like very dated. But I would do a lot of those, or I would pick and choose like different elements of the pattern. I would like find a stitch pattern on like the world's most hideous sweater, but then I would use it for blanket.
Lynn, sorry. It's Melanie Lynn, and she goes by Lynn, but I still sometimes call her Mel. But she was you're always much more adventurous knitter than I am, like figuring out patterns and making things with them. And whereas I am like, I love a pattern. I just like to find a garment or a thing that I want to make, and then I kind of follow it to a T. I'm not super adventurous. I love to follow a pattern.
Whereas I am like, oh, I don't have the supplies I need for that pattern, so I'm gonna mash it up with something else to fit the supplies that I do happen to have on. Because I don't know. I think I wasn't always this way, but when I worked at Michael's,
she used to work at Michael's.
I took the job for the discount.
The corporate, not in the store. You were at the corporate office.
I was a financial analyst. I worked in their corporate office in Dallas, and one of the like best perks about working at Michael's, aside from the employee discount, was the employee sample sale. So
Yes.
in order to prepare for, you know, like the seasonal changes and restocks and, you know, different events going on in the store, there was a model store near the head office in Dallas, and they would, you know, like fully stock it and set it up and like do all the pictures, and then that would be sent out to, you know, all of the stores all over the country saying, okay, this is what you need to set up here. This is how this should be arranged, all that.
Was it a real store?
You couldn't shop in it.
Okay, no, it was just for use to set up.
Yeah, and a lot of the products in there weren't real products. It would be like a pack of plain white napkins with like a picture of the design that was supposed to be on them on the front.
Okay.
But all of those sample materials, some of them were real.
Yeah.
And they would, every so often, they would put them all in a warehouse, and the employees only would go to go shop the sample sale. And it was, they would give you, you know, the big giant plastic shopping bags they have at Michael's. Anything you could fit in one of those for $10.
Amazing.
Like, just ridiculous. So I still am knitting yarn that I bought at those sample sales. I still am using, you know, party napkins and, you know, bags and favors and stuff that I got from that. Because I would always go for the yarn.
Yeah.
And then like the party supplies, so like paper plates, straws, napkins, stuff like that. So it's like, oh, it'll get used.
Yeah.
8 years later, it's still getting used. So,
Okay, so going back to crochet, because we all learned to crochet first.
Yes.
I feel like I remember Grandma and Norma and Mom and like various people teaching us when we were kids, but I don't remember. I mean, maybe I made a blanket in middle school or high school, but I can't remember what I actually used to make crochet wise until I got to college and did it more.
I feel like when we were little, they never taught us any complicated stitches. It was literally just like we could all do like a single or a double crochet, and we could make a rectangle, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even do a granny square until high school.
Yeah, okay.
Because I do remember that. I remember once asking Aunt Norma to show me. I was like, okay, I've made my chain. Now how do I like make a corner on it and go back around? And I distinctly remember Norma teaching me that. And she was like, I'll just do it for you. And then you crochet across. Because I was that young.
Yeah.
And she just like couldn't be bothered, I think, at that age. Because I wouldn't have gotten it. So yeah, I feel like we didn't do all that much complicated. And I remember Mom joking that she only taught us that to like get us to be quiet once in a while. Which when you have 5 kids is, you know, valuable.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't do anything super complicated. It wasn't really until I feel like you and I were in high school or college that we all started kind of getting more into it and doing more complicated things.
But we definitely grew up like just learning all kinds of different crafts and skills.
Yeah,
because
like,
our mom and sisters grew up with their grandma or their mom, our grandma, teaching them how to do all kinds of crafts and make things. Like they made a lot of their clothes. They made tons of blankets because we have a ton of blankets that my grandma made, and moms and aunts, you know.
Mom used to make curtains for our neighbors. Like that used to be like her little side hustle for a while there.
Yeah, that's how I feel like all learned to use a sewing machine, because my mom was a home sewer who did it as a business and taught us all how to use a sewing machine. So
we all learned all that stuff growing up, and that's how we also got started on cross stitch as well. I remember doing cross stitch ornaments for my friends as gifts for Christmas in middle school.
Just little kits from the craft store. What was the name? So when we were kids, there was a little fabric craft store at the corner where Big Lots is now. And it was like, it turned into a Joann's eventually, but before that, it was like, the company doesn't exist anymore, but it was like a little...
I don't remember.
Like almost like a True Value hardware store, but like for crafts, you know? And that so our grandmother lived in a neighborhood right behind it. And so we would walk over there and get like puffy paint or fabric or yarn or little cross stitch kits and just like little things. I cannot remember the name of it, but...
I can't either, but I know what you're talking about. I feel like it was...
I think it was a company that Joann's probably bought, like a little craft store, but it was,
I feel like it was
early 90s.
It had a woman's name also.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways.
If somebody knows, drop it in the comments.
A true YouTuber over here. Honey, you want to come say hi to the camera? All the cats are so interested in what we're doing. I never film out here, and they normally honestly hide from anyone who comes to the house, so I feel very blessed that...
Cats have a sixth sense for knowing who doesn't like cats.
So they know that you're not going to try to pick them up or pet them.
Yeah. So they come out here to rub it in my face.
Jonesy finally walked away because he was really distracting me, trying to eat the cords from the lights and trying to mess with my shoes. Now Honey's having her turn.
She's being a lot more like polite about it though.
Come here. I just want to say hi.
Ooh. Oh.
Ooh, those claws.
I know, because she doesn't want me to hold her. Okay, what is your favorite thing you've ever knit?
I've ever knit.
Yeah, we're gonna do knit and crochet.
Okay. So, I bet I have a picture of it too.
Well, you can talk about it and
okay,
send it to me, and I'll
yeah.
put it on the screen.
I knit, and you can still find this pattern probably on knitty.com,
Yeah.
which was my source for knitting patterns
Oh
before
yeah,
Ravelry.
and it's still around.
It's still
I'm
around.
still
It still
subscribed.
has fantastic
Yeah,
patterns.
Knitty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was one of
Yeah.
my original pattern sources.
So I went through like a hardcore, like intensive lace knitting phase.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I knit a circular lace shawl in this red, like featherweight merino lace yarn. And it is just like, it's gorgeous. The pattern I want to say was called Shipwreck. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's like, it's knit from the inside out. And so there's these bands of patterns getting bigger and bigger. And then the outside is all just this gigantic lacy mesh. And it is gorgeous. I've knit 2 versions of it. I've knit that one in like super, like the thinnest yarn I've ever knit with almost.
Yeah.
In red. That was the first time I knit it, and then I've knit it again with like more of like almost a sock weight kind of cream as a baby blanket, because I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
And that one is like really like nice and cushy, and also just impractical as a baby blanket. But beautiful.
Her lace knitting phase really influenced me because I went through a phase too. I mean, I haven't done nearly as complicated or as many projects, but I definitely had a lace phase, I feel like in the late 2000s, where I was doing some lacy scarves and shawls and...
Uncle Kent had me for Christmas one year, or maybe that was back when we still did like presents for everyone instead of drawing names. What a game changer. And on my Christmas list, I had this book, Knitted Lace of Estonia, which was full of Estonian lace knitting patterns. And I remember Uncle Kent going to Mom and Dad and being like, "Is this really what she wants? What? What is this nonsense?" And they're like, "That's just what she's into right now, man." And so he bought it for me, and I still have it, and I love it. It's got fantastic patterns in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
God, I used to love knitting books because that was really like, I mean, Ravelry was around, but there weren't as many patterns. So it was like really books were like, the thing.
Yeah, and I still, like, I have a few that I still really love, and I don't knit the patterns from them very often anymore, but I still love just flipping through it for ideas.
Same. I still have my knitting books I bought in the 2000s that are all on my shelf, and I like just flipping through them. And magazines, too. So I worked at Hancock Fabrics in college. R.I.P. I miss Hancock Fabrics. And I had already taught myself how to knit. I knew how to crochet, and that's where I got into quilting. I knew how to sew, but that's where I got into quilting. But at the end of the month, when we had the new magazines come in, the ones that weren't sold, we had to rip the covers off and throw away. Well, I would rip the cover off and then keep them because, they couldn't sell them, I guess, after a certain point. Once they were out of date. And so I have tons of magazines like knitting, crochet, cross stitch, quilting, like just so many magazines left from that time. That's really one of the perks of working at a crafty place, because it sure wasn't the $7.50 an hour, but because I worked in the Hancock Fabric store. This was in college, so this was my college job. And but the perk of the discount on the fabric, the yarn, the free magazines, and it was great. Okay, so what was your favorite crochet project you've ever done?
You know what? I just remembered, though, as we were talking about this.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing that I've ever knit probably was that shawl.
Yeah.
But I think the most loved in general thing that I've never ever knit might be, do you remember when I knit a map of the United States?
Okay, that's
as a
what I thought you
blanket?
were going to say. She knit an entire map of the United States. And hopefully we have a picture of it to put in, because it is amazing.
It's a free pattern from lionbrand.com. They still have it on their website.
Okay, great.
So the front, I did map of the United States. Did not follow any of their color suggestions. Purely was using up the scraps that I had on hand. And it's all like intarsia, and I hated the way the back looked. So what I did for the back was I flipped it over and I knit onto the back a US flag.
Yes.
That I made up the pattern for myself, which, I mean, obviously it's just stripes. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
The stars were difficult.
Yeah.
That, I think, is like the most loved thing that I've ever knit. Second place would be a teddy bear that I knit for my husband's cousin's son that I found out this weekend at 10 years old. He still has and loves. And
Oh, that's so sweet.
I was like, love that.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So those are the two most loved things that I've ever knit by people other than me.
Yeah.
Like, loved by others. My favorite thing that I've ever crocheted is also probably the most loved by others because it is currently framed and mounted on the wall of my mother-in-law's house. There's a picture of that for sure.
Okay.
I knit I crocheted this blanket. The pattern is also a free pattern on Ravelry. Yes, free patterns are my deal.
Yes.
Except for this one. It's called Sophie's Universe.
Okay.
Did
you pick it because of the name?
Yes.
Her daughter's name is Sophia.
It was so fun to crochet, and then it also ignored all of their color suggestions, used up scraps that I had on hand. Love to do that as well. And it's so bright and colorful. There's so much texture. There's so much going on, but not in like a way that it's overwhelming because it's so big.
Yeah.
That there's space for the different patterns to kind of breathe and stand on their own, I feel like.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I gave it to my mother-in-law as a birthday gift the year that I made it. Because I had never like really knit or crocheted anything big for her. And so I gave it to her as a gift. While she was having some things redone at her house, I came over once for like dinner and she goes, "Oh, I have a surprise for you." We go into like the main entryway, and there on the wall in the entryway of their house, it is like fully mounted on this like wooden frame up on the wall, full display, place of honor. Everyone who comes to their house sees it. And I was just like, I almost cried.
So nice. I want to know how to, like, because, you know, knit and crochet, like, can be heavy. So like,
yes.
Is it mounted in multiple places?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a wooden board that was cut to the size of the blanket. And then it's tacked down all around the edge, but then also at several places through the center so that it doesn't, because you can see a little bit now, it's been up there for years, you can see a little bit of sagging above some of the...
Is there a right way, or could it be rotated?
So...
I'm like, is it a square?
No, it could be. Yeah, because it's a square.
Okay.
And it's up there on a diagonal right now. So they could, in theory, after a few years...
Flip it the other, upside down.
They just rotated a quarter turn every 10 years or something.
So it doesn't sag. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But that I still,
Okay,
I'm so
that's
proud of that.
amazing.
And I love that they loved it enough to put it up on the wall. It made me, so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to pick one, would it be crochet or knitting? Like, if you could only do one the rest of your life?
Knitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, I love crochet, and it's for different purposes, and for me, love knitting more than I love crochet, but...
Yeah. And, I don't crochet things that I'm going to wear most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to crochet a pair of gloves. Ever.
No.
You know, I'm sure there's people out there who do, and they're like, "Oh, actually, if you do this type of stitch and this, then it's really..." I'm like, I believe you, but for
It's
me,
like crochet
it's
socks.
not fun for me.
I just can't imagine I would like wearing crochet socks. I know people do it, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, different strokes, man.
I know.
It's not for me.
I much prefer like crochet blankets and even
like
a shawl
decorative
or
items.
decorative, like a pillow,
I love
a tote
amigurumi.
bag. Oh yeah, Mel's real good at the little amigurumi stuff. Yeah.
Remember the year I did little Christmas ornaments?
Yes, I've shown that off on my channel before. Yeah, I know.
That was so fun. So the cousin's son, who still has the teddy bear that I knit for him, when that came up in conversation, I was actually sitting here knitting this sweater. You know, I was sitting on the couch hanging out with my husband's family, and his cousin was like, "Oh yeah, Noah still has that teddy bear that you knit for him," and her daughter was like, "You know how to make stuffies?" I was like, "I do. Can you teach me?" Yes. Yes, I can. We went out to Michael's. We bought yarn. We bought a crochet hook. I started teaching her single crochets and I told her, okay, you master this single crochet. I'm going to start sending you videos of how to do these little amigurumi stuffies. She's so into it and she did so good. She's 7 years old and she's focused. She was taking it seriously. And she did great.
Mel and I are really the same in the sense that if anybody expresses any interest in a craft that we like to do, we'll immediately be like, yes, I will show you. I will get you addicted to this hobby.
I've got the supplies right here in my pocket. We're going to start now.
I know. We were just at the senior sitter for the puzzle competition and somebody was talking about wanting to learn how to knit. And I'm like, yes, hello. Can we help you? Like, what do you need?
It's like, I've got needles in my bag.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What do
you want to learn? So...
Oh, I love that. I'm looking forward to when one of the girls expresses a real interest in learning how to do it. Because my daughters both have every now and then they'll be like, oh, let me do a stitch.
Yeah.
And then they do a stitch and they're like, oh, it's hard. And they go to something else. They haven't got the bug yet.
But I think it's good that you have it around them where they can kind of learn. And even if they're not don't want to sit down and do it for a long time, then it's when they get older, they remember, oh, I did, and then because I feel like
it lowers that barrier to entry so much. They see it around them so many times. They've done it. They've felt the needles in their hands. So, it's not this big thing where you're like, oh, I could never.
Yeah, because I feel like that was us. We definitely did little craft projects and stuff, but none of us were knitting every single day or crocheting every single day like we do now. And then it was you get into college and you have more free time or you're trying to figure out hobbies to fill your time with school. And then you're just oh, I like to make stuff.
When I got my first job after college and I was like, wait, I go to work and then I come home and then I'm just off.
Yeah.
It's all free
I don't
time.
have homework?
Yeah, because it was either always after school, it was homework or the after school job.
Yeah.
There was never a time that you didn't have stuff you had to be doing.
Yeah.
And that was miraculous. And that's really when I started getting super into it.
Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah. With, of course, the cheapest possible supplies because I was dead broke.
Oh my gosh. I remember in college, of course I was using Hancock fabric yarn, right? Which is Michael's or Joann's or whatever, right? And then I started Googling yarn stores and I found Hill Country Weavers, which is our big, well-known, popular yarn store here in Austin. They do retreats and things.
That's where I got the red yarn for that shawl.
Yeah. And so it was halfway between where we lived going to college, because Mel and I lived together for a couple of years, and then our parents' house. And I would make so many stops at Hill Country Weavers on my way into Austin. And I remember loving to knit socks but spending $20 on sock yarn. It was such a big commitment. And now it's $30, but buying the fancy yarn, but it was I could only afford one skein. So I would do a lot of one skein projects with my fancy yarn and then, blankets and stuff. It would be whatever they had at Michael's or Joann's or Hancock's.
Also, I'm just going to show, I think this is out of frame of the video, but I am doing Elizabeth's bowl trick.
I don't even know if I've talked about this. Maybe.
Life-changing.
So when you're knitting sleeves on a sweater, guys, I put my whole sweater in a bowl. That way you're just turning the bowl around instead of flopping your sweater around.
Especially because I am lazy and I did not put my stitches on waste yarn for so I've got the body and another sleeve over here and they're on another set of, they're on sock needles actually, circulars, because I didn't want to get up and find a ball of yarn to put them on. So I've got a lot going on in here. There's still a ball of yarn attached to it and it all just sits here nice and politely in this bowl and
you can take this home to Mom and Dad's for the rest of the trip. I
Thank you.
I don't need a Christmas popcorn bowl right now.
Perfect, because I don't know where the sailboat bowl is at Mom's
She
house
was
right
over
now.
here yesterday for a little while knitting, and when she left, the bowl was sitting on the dining table, and Jonesy decided that was going to be his cat bed for his afternoon nap, which was adorable.
Don't worry, Sarah, I got the cat hair out before.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm trying to think. Do we have any other fun knitting or crochet stuff we should talk about?
So yes, I would love to talk about and show pictures of in the corner the matching socks that I made for me and the girls.
Yes.
For
Okay.
our recent
Yes.
trip to Scotland.
Do you just use it's just a vanilla sock pattern that you made up, or did you follow anything specific?
I think I just kind of made it up as I went.
Yeah.
I followed a pattern for the heel on one of them and then decided I didn't like it and just did my kind of normal short row heel that I like to do.
But you always do toe up socks, right? Did you do those toe up or cuff down?
These I did toe up because I love how easy and quick it is to cast on for toe up because I do Russian cast. I don't know. The type of cast on where you put a slip knot on a needle, you hold 2 needles together, and you just wrap, and then knit across, and you've got like a cast on toe in the round.
Yeah, I think I've only ever done one pair of toe up, so I can't remember what the cast on is.
I can't remember what it's called, but I love it. It's quick, it's simple. Like I do not enjoy the process of casting on. It always I just don't like it.
Have you done a German twisted cast on? Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it.
I've just gotten into that for socks because I normally do a long tail and I just try to make sure it's kind of loose. But German twisted is basically a modified long tail, so you might not like it because it's still a long tail cast on, but it's really stretchy, which is why I like it for the sock casts.
Yeah, that's the other thing is there's no cast ons that I love for being stretchy, and I just don't like casting on in general. It's not my favorite part of knitting at all. So I like to do toe up. Also due to the fact that a lot of times if I'm working with not a full skein of yarn, if I'm using leftovers or something, I have very big feet. I want to make sure that I have enough to do the foot, and then, the leg can be shorter or taller if I run out. No big deal, but the foot has to cover the foot.
I know. I have complained many times on my channel about having big feet and how much longer it takes to knit socks.
I know. Oh, you know what? And we've gotten all off topic. I haven't even
told me my crochet project.
No, the socks. So it's not just that I knit socks. So my husband and I, we took the kids to Scotland. None of us had ever been to Scotland before. It's going to be cold and rainy. We live in Dubai. You do not need knitwear in Dubai. Ever for any reason. So I don't knit things for myself, for the kids, really, in Dubai. Yeah. But we're going to Scotland. It's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. It's knitwear weather. Woohoo! So they both got a new sweater. Matching, of course. Rainbow and cream stripes. Beautiful basic raglan pattern that I just kind of made up as I went. And then we did rainbow socks for all 3 of us, and I love them so much. The rainbow yarn I had got just on a whim at Gauge, which is a local yarn store here in Austin. And I did cream for the toes, heels, and cuffs, and then rainbow for the full body of the socks for the girls, and it was just so cute. And then for mine, I didn't feel like I had enough of the rainbow left to do a full pair of socks for me, because again, big feet. So I did alternating 1 row rainbow, 1 row white, so it was fully kind of a muted rainbow for mine. But I loved it. The girls wore them the whole trip over top of their regular socks to keep their feet all warm and dry, and we all matched. It was so cute. So yeah, that was my most fun recent knitting project for sure, because I knew it would actually be needed and get used. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than knitting a garment that nobody's ever gonna wear. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your plans after you finish this sweater? Any knitting plans?
I'm gonna knit that sock yarn you gave me.
Oh yeah. A lovely friend sent me 5 skeins of sock yarn recently, and I gifted a couple skeins to Mel, because they don't have really the same kind of sock yarn availability in Dubai we have. So she's gonna take a couple skeins to knit up some socks with.
Yes, I'm very excited about that, because we I don't know for sure that we're going to go anywhere super cold this winter. We're going to Australia for Christmas, where it will be very hot. but I like knitting socks. And if they're not for me, then maybe they will be for someone else. Yeah. Yeah. But maybe they'll be... Who have I not knit socks for? I haven't knit socks for you, because you knit your own socks.
I know. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. I have something to give you. Let me go grab it out of the office. 1 second.
I was trying real hard to think of something funny to say while you were gone, and just nothing came to me.
I almost said, don't say mean things about me while I'm gone. Okay, first thing, I need to get rid of some yarn. Do you have any interest? I have 7 skeins of this.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you have room to take it home?
Yeah, and I actually already have the pattern that I want to knit with it.
Okay. Perfect.
Love it.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll go grab the rest of it. Second, I know you said you don't need socks, but I did make you a pair of.
Oh my god, these are gorgeous.
I've been meaning to give them to you.
Anyway.
I know. I've been meaning to give them to you the whole trip, and I keep forgetting. So these are my first self-striping socks that I did.
They're gorgeous. Oh my god. I love the color. Oh, and the pattern is so pretty.
Yay. You're welcome.
I'm gonna put them on right now.
Okay, try them on. Make sure they fit.
I mean, I assume you tried them on, so they're probably fine.
Yes, they're a little bit long on me, so I think they should be perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Are they good?
They're exactly perfect.
Yay!
I'm not going to put my feet on camera because
No, we'll take a photo, but
not for free.
when I start a Patreon, it'll be all the sock feet pics. JK. Yay, I'm glad you like them.
I love them. Oh,
Here, let me show the camera. They've seen these before, but these are a pattern called Heel Toe Do-Si-Do by the Crazy Sock Lady. And the yarn is from Must Stash Yarns, which is a self-striping color, and it's called Big Bend. So it's after our Texas National Park.
oh, I love them.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're
oh my
welcome.
gosh. Oh, gorgeous. The girls are going to be so jealous.
Yeah, well, maybe eventually they'll have big enough feet to fit in them.
God forbid.
If they're anything like their mother.
So far, all indications are that they will not be as unreasonably tall as I am.
Perfect. Because Sam's like, what, an inch shorter than you?
Yeah.
So her husband's an inch shorter, so maybe they won't be as tall.
So there's two different like methods out there that people recommend to like estimate how tall your kids will be when they grow up. And both of those methods estimate that Sophia will be about 5'9".
Perfect. God, what I would give to be 5'9" with a size 10 shoe.
Oh my God. Ugh, can you imagine?
The dream. Tall girl problems.
I know.
There's a mother and daughter YouTube channel that I love called Two Tall Stitchers, and they are both taller than us. So
Wow.
I know they're like 5'11", 6 foot. I love it. So, anyways,
Yeah. Good for them.
I know. Okay, well, thank you for coming on my channel to talk about knitting and crochet. I appreciate it.
Me. This is fun.
Yay! All right.
We
Well,
need to do a Zoom chat sometime.
yeah, sure. Anytime. Bye, guys. Thank you so much to my sister for letting me pick her brain about all things knitting and crochet. Yeah, I feel so lucky and so blessed that so many of my family members love the same kind of crafts and hobbies that I do and will, you know, put up with me demanding that they come sit with me and talk about it to you guys. So a big shout out and a thank you to my sister Lynn. Okay, so now would be the time to go through anything cool in the P.O. box or anything cool that I've been buying, but I don't have anything that came in the mail this week. I'm honestly most shocked that I have not been spending money on haul. Like, who am I? I have not been buying things. But it hasn't been like totally the plan, but I think in my mind, like subconsciously, I haven't been spending because I know I'm about to go to Flock Fiber Festival and who knows, either get too excited I can't pick anything or get so excited that I buy literally everything. So it's probably good that I have like not felt like shopping this past month because I'm about to do some shopping, I think. Yeah, so with regards to next weekend's video, because typically I film these on like Sunday morning, afternoon, and put them up for you on a Tuesday, I'm not going to be home to do that next Sunday. So I think what I'm planning to do is film a What I Craft in a Week Flock edition and film this week as I am working and getting ready and packing and also crafting throughout the week. And it will probably be a little bit less crafting than I can do on normal weeks because I will have to be making sure I'm getting a bunch of stuff I need to get done for work and, you know, doing laundry and packing and all the boring stuff that I have to do to get ready for a trip. But then this weekend will be so fun because I'll be at Flock and I'll get to film like a fiber festival and take you guys along with me to that. So I think I'm not, you know, I'm not 100% sure because I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants over here on this channel, but most likely next Tuesday's video, if I have time to edit one basically, will be probably a What I Craft in a Week and like a shopping vlog at Flock. And then I will be in California for the week, so I'll probably try to film, you know, what I'm crafting in a hotel room type clips. And then hopefully when I get home Friday, that following week, I'll be able to sit down at some point over the weekend and just kind of give you guys a big catch up on the past 2 weeks and show off all the progress and just do another like sit down style video. So those are kind of my thoughts, but you know, of course, at any point, anything can change because this isn't my real job. It's just what I would love to be doing with my time. So I make all these plans for myself. And then if they can happen, they can happen. If they can't, then I try again at a later time. I'm getting real existential here at the end of this video. But yeah, Oh, actually, while we're at the very end of the video, and there's probably only like 100 of you watching this, it's because it's sitting right in front of me. I talked a little bit about a sewing fail I had in my last video because I just didn't do planning. I quilted a panel of 2 fabrics together because I liked them and thought I'll come up with a plan later. And then my plan was I want to make a Kato bag, and now I'm annoyed because the lining fabric I had used to quilt to, I'm gonna have to cover up if I want to make the Kato bag. And I got, probably no joke, about 50 comments and 3 or 4 emails, all with the same suggestion, which was to bind the interior seams with quilt binding. Or I saw a few that were saying I could French seam the bag. And I did, think about multiple options for solving my issue. And I thought I would just address specifically the binding one and the French seam one and why I don't think they would really necessarily work in this scenario, just in case it's like helpful information for anybody else. So this is the inside of the bag, and I have made some patterns before where you can bind the interior seams to cover your raw edges, which is, great. The reason it's not really going to work in this bag is specifically because of the boxed corner, and that's where you have all of these seams kind of coming in together at once. So like I could do the binding for here, but then I'd have to figure out how to like get a clean edge and butt up an end and bind across and somehow get another clean edge. And then for the top, I would have to run it all the way to the top and then figure out some sort of drawstring closure that would also kind of bind the top and the edges. That might work, but honestly, it's the part at the bottom, which is why I just don't think binding would work. There's just no way for the binding edges to meet up nicely and be covered in a way that makes sense to me. And it just feels like way more trouble than it's worth to use this lining. Like, I do love this fabric and I'm annoyed at myself that I kind of wasted it, but not so much so that I'm gonna try to get super fiddly with trying to meet 3 pieces of binding into this boxed corner, if that makes sense. French seams, I also did think about. The downside to French seams is that it'll take away a little bit of the width and the height of the bag because the seam is then double the size that I had intended. The other thing is because this is quilted, those seams are gonna be super thick. So again, down here where I have 3, seams coming into one point, if those were all French seams, it would be a nightmare to sew together. So I just wanted to put that out there because I did see a ton of comments with that suggestion, and I just wanted to describe, I guess, why I didn't think that would necessarily work for this style of bag. But it's a sewing fail, but I'm not that concerned about it. It's just a half yard of fabric. I could order another half yard of the same fabric, or I'll just use one of my plethora of red fabrics to line this. So anyways, that's that. I think that's all I have to share this week. So I will see you next week with a new video. Bye.